The next question. Why do people in the truth movement feel this issue is more important than other pressing issues of our time, like global warming, economic issues, etc.? So that's a very good question. I personally think that 9/11 is the seminal issue of our time. And the reason is because it is the chink in the armor of the ruling elite. The Kennedy assassination, both Kennedys, Bobby and John, were similar operations. They were designed for this group of people, the military-industrial complex, the ruling elite, to seize control, to seize power, to gain more power. John F. Kennedy was getting us out of Vietnam, and that would not have been good for the military-industrial complex. You know, the Cold War had ended, so that we had no enemy. So there needed to be a new enemy created, because there was supposed to be this big peace dividend. Remember that? So this is the most important issue, because when, not if, when people wake up and understand who really did 9/11, there will be a revolution on this entire planet, not just in this country, but on the entire planet. And finally, the people will be in control of our own destiny. On a planetary scale, for the first time since probably the end of the Ice Ages, which was known as the Golden Era, when there was plenty to go around, and it was before war, it was before the patriarchy took over, it was before the concept of modern religion, so the world was at peace. Now the world is at war. And so this is a historic opportunity. 9/11 was an act of desperation. They felt their power slipping away because of the internet, because of more people waking up. There are more enlightened people alive on planet Earth today than the whole history of humanity. So people are waking up. This is something that is happening. And like Victor Hugo said, you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. You can't stop it with a gun, a bullet, a soldier. You can't stop it with a competing idea. Once an idea's time has come, it just spreads like wildfire. You can't stop it. And these people aren't stupid, the ruling elite. They know that. And the idea whose time has come is peace and love. That's the idea whose time has come. And so 9/11 was really an act of desperation. And you cannot stop the next step in human evolution, which is what we're on the precipice of, which is what's coming up, which is mass enlightenment. And so that's not going to be stopped. And so 9/11 was an act of desperation, trying to hold on as they see their power slipping away. And so that's why uncovering the truth of 9/11 is the shortest path to a utopian future. Because we'll get rid of the ruling elite, we'll get rid of all the wars, which are fought strictly for the ruling elite, to just control people, to divide people. And we will finally know, again, once again, peace and love on earth. So that's why 9/11 is more important than any of these other issues, because all these other issues, when we get to the truth of who did 9/11, the environment will be fixed. Economic issues will be fixed. We will be living in utopia. So that's why 9/11 is more important than any of these other issues, because all these other issues will be fixed when there is this peaceful revolution. As they had a... And we're at the last question of this section of our little expose of 9/11. Again, 9/11, the truth of the matter. Truth does matter, my friends. The last question is probably the most difficult. The question reads as follows. I'm a devoted conservative Christian who is very proud to say that I have more faith in Christianity than I do in science. I also have faith in our country and in our government. And I think it is unfathomable that the good Christian men and women in our government could be involved in such a thing as 9/11. Well, that's a very difficult question to address. There are many people in the truth movement who call themselves Christians as well, and many people in the truth movement who call themselves conservatives as well. So the truth of 9/11 does not exclude Christianity or Judaism or Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism or pantheism or any faith. So you can be a good Christian and still know the truth of 9/11. You can be a liberal or a conservative or a progressive. You can be any social ilk and still understand and know the truth of 9/11. Here's the one thing that is a problem with your question, whoever asked this question. The assumption that because you are a good Christian, that Bush and other people in the United States government are also good Christians. I was raised Catholic, so I know a little bit about Christianity, and I think the teaching of Jesus, Jesus is all right by me. And personally, I'm a pantheist and Taoist, but I have no problems with Christ. Or Christians, for that matter, or Jews, or Muslims, or any particular religious affiliation. But the idea that Bush is a Christian, or that people that go to war are Christians, or that you can conduct a war in a Christian fashion, that's a fallacy. And I'll point the book of Revelations. The book of Revelations talks about the end times, and we are in fact in the end times. The end times are now. What does apocalypse mean? Apocalypse, apocryphal, means lifting the veil. So the veil is being lifted. The veil is illusion. The veil is lies. So the veil is lifted on an individual basis. And so when the veil, when lies, the scales fall away, you see the truth and you have epiphany. There are many people who have already had that epiphany. And we're still here, we're walking around, we want other people to have that epiphany. So just because you haven't had an epiphany yet doesn't mean other people haven't. So Bush is in fact a false Christian. I personally believe he's the Antichrist. If you read Revelations, it talks of the Antichrist in the end times, and it talks of false Christians who follow the Antichrist. And that's the situation. The people in government, the people who conduct wars, the people who hate Arabs, they're not good Christians. And if you, sir or ma'am, call yourself a devout Christian and you hate other religions or other people who are not Christian, I would suggest that you're not such a good Christian, because that's not what Christ taught. And look inward and look that hate is not the teachings of Christ, but love is the teachings of Christ. So if you love everyone, and even Bush, I don't hate Bush. And I don't even consider myself a Christian. I pity Bush, and I want to see him removed from office where he can do another 9/11. But I don't even think he should get the death penalty. I think he should be put in prison and put away, but I do not think he should get the death penalty, and the other people that perpetrated these crimes. So that's my answer to this very difficult question. And as it says in the Bible, you shall know them by their fruits. And if you look at the fruits of these people that make up the government of the United States of America, they are not in line with Christian values. They do not take care of the poor. They do not take care of the needy. It's not about feeding the hungry. It's not about clothing the naked. It's not about housing the homeless. It's all about war. And it's all about money. It's about greed. And it's about power for a handful of people. And that's not what Christ was about. Christ was a revolutionary. Christ would be sitting down here where I'm sitting, telling you to see, open your eyes to the truth of 9/11.